Flush mounting monitors is the pinnacle of great studio design. If you pick up any textbook on how to get great acoustics in a really accurate control room, flush mounting your speakers into the wall is what you're going to read. Why then did I not decide to do it in my next studio with all the knowledge I have? Why did I not decide to flush mount my speakers? This lesson is going to explain to you why that is, why flush mounting is probably not the best decision for every situation, and teach you a little bit about the flaws in thinking that just because something is in a textbook and it's supposed to be the best, that we should automatically do it. There's a lot of nuance in how to correctly design a home recording studio, and this lesson will touch on that. All right, let's dive in. So let's first acknowledge the truth about what flush mounting is and what it does. So from a very basic standpoint, flush mounting is where you put your speakers into the wall so that they are then flush with the wall and are essentially built into the front wall of your studio. This wall needs to be extremely rigid and massive and heavy for it to function properly. So it can't just be a 2x4 stud wall with a couple layers of drywall. Won't work the way you want it to. Second, flush mounting allows you to get a more accurate response from your speakers because you don't get SBIR, which is, good old speaker boundary interference response, and you also don't get diffraction off the edge of the speakers, which creates comb filtering issues, which leads to inaccurate sonic perception of the sound coming from your speakers. So we can all agree that overall flush mounting is good from an acoustics perspective. And by all accounts, we should all just do it. But here's the truth. All of that is not wrong. It's just incomplete. The real question isn't, can you flush mount your speakers? But what is it going to cost you elsewhere in the design? Let's dive into this a bit more. Reason number one, you're getting trade-offs, not necessarily upgrades. Flush mounting locks you into geometry, so there's no way you can move your speakers later if you don't like the way they're positioned. It can amplify the consequences of your room if it's not done correctly. And lastly, it's certainly going to increase the cost of your overall studio design, which I haven't talked to a person yet that's like, yes, I just want to totally blow up the cost of my studio in an already overly expensive project. Reason number two, you're optimizing a very specific part of your studio without potentially recognizing all the different aspects of the studio where that money could be used elsewhere. So with flush mounting, we're optimizing for a very specific thing, which is the accuracy and clarity of our monitors. And let's be honest, not everybody is trying to mix or master music in their recording room. Some people are just trying to jam out. Some people are trying to do home recording. Some people aren't trying to mix their music at all. In these cases, you don't really need to flush mount your monitors. There's lots of other places where the money and the expertise should be used so that your studio functions at the very best it possibly can for the right budget that you're after. Reason number three, this is irreversible. Once you build a super heavy, expensive front wall with your speakers locked into them, you cannot easily change that down the road if you don't like it, or if you want to expand the space in the future, or if you want to sell your home in the future and now you have this funky, totally heavy wall with some holes in it where your speakers used to be, because you probably want to take your speakers with you. So there's a lot to think about why the books and why we may want to do something that we know is the best, but in the home studio environment, which is where I live right now in this design business, there's so many things that counteract what the literature may say. And reason number four not to flush mount your studios is because flush mounting is part of the whole system of the room. Not every room should be designed to have flush mounted speakers, and not every room can be designed to have flush mounted speakers. What I'm saying is that flush mounting is mainly done in high-end commercial control rooms. When we're dealing with our home studio designs, we're often trying to maximize many different things at the same time. We're trying to make our budget as efficient and ideally as small as possible. We're trying to make our space, which is inevitably usually small to begin with because it's in a home environment, even bigger than it possibly can be, which flush mounting decreases our space dramatically, actually. And then we're trying to keep things simple for a contractor who doesn't often do this type of work. And flush mounting, if nothing else, is going to be extremely complex for someone who's not used to this type of work. And even in a great set of plans like what we strive to do here at Soundproof Your Studio, it's still going to just add that extra layer of complexity, which, after everything I've said, you're probably understanding why I decided not to do it in my own home studio, and also why we don't usually recommend that our clients do it either. So here's the takeaway, I think. Good studio design is not about stacking particular techniques that you read in a textbook. It's about understanding the entire system as a whole, bringing it together, filtering it through experience, filtering it through the design process, and coming out with something completely new from what the textbooks teach. Something that is known to the home studio market almost exclusively and creates the perfect space for creating music and listening to music in a quiet, controlled space that's comfortable and works for you, not for what people on the internet think or what you read in a book. That is the key point of what I have learned over the years of doing design work for my clients. And this comes back to something that I've done in the last two videos, which is that design and what we do here is not fully about the materials and the techniques. Granted, we obviously need a strong grasp of, how much drywall to use, how to put the drywall together, where we use acoustic sealant, decoupling, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately what we're doing is we're trying to guide the decision process by eliminating all the things that you don't need, focusing on what you do need, and pulling it all together in a nice complete package that will give you exactly what you need and want in your home recording studio design. So if that's what you're after, if you're after a pro level design and working with someone like myself who has all this experience in the home recording studio market, then I would love to talk to you over a Soundproof Clarity call. It's a 30-minute call. It's not a sales call. It's more of a, hey, are we a potential good fit working together call? It's a collaborative call. And it's where I want to learn more about your project and see if there's a way I can help you. If you're interested in that, you can sign up right away at soundproofyourstudio.com/step1. And I'd be happy to see you on my calendar. It's very easy to do. All right, everybody, my name is Wilson Harwood, and I am a home recording studio designer. I build studios and design studios in the United States and Canada, and I would love to have you learn more about how to build home recording studios and soundproof spaces in general by following us. You can always hit the follow button and watch along. We do new videos every week on Monday and Thursday. All right, I'll see you all later. See you in the next lesson. Thanks so much for watching.